Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game SO. Today I think I have what is going to be the most exciting video of the week tonight, because I am playing Super Mario Eclipse, which released all of 14 hours ago. And when I say I love Super Mario Sunshine, I mean it. I think it's the best 3D Mario game ever made, and you can go disagree with me down in the comments even though you're going to be wrong. So what the team for Super Mario Eclipse did was create brand new worlds, 120 new stars, new playable characters, and new story, putting it into the original Super Mario Sunshine, basically giving us an unofficial sequel, something that I always hoped Nintendo would do, but they've never managed to do yet. And it's another example of fans taking the reins from Nintendo and making a game, in my opinion, so far at least, every bit as good as what Nintendo could have done. Before you get too far involved though, do me a huge favor, down below hit like and subscribe and ring that notification bell, definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined to watch part of the channel, I have a Patreon link down below as well. But what is Super Mario Eclipse? Basically, it's a fan game taking the Super Mario Sunshine formula and expanding on it, basically doubling the entire thing. And it does it in the best way possible, in new, fun, and inventive ways. From a new opening to new levels in the game, to basically the same base game that you know, love, and remember in different ways. There's remixed boss fights and so many other things to discover. And because this thing has only been out for a certain amount of time, I haven't even found everything yet, even though I probably got 5 hours of gameplay footage to capture down into a 10-minute video. And trust me, a lot of the spoilers and other secret things I'm going to keep hidden from you because I want you to discover them on your own. Because that is the #1 takeaway of Super Mario Eclipse. The sense of discovery and finding new things in well-trod areas that you've played before is one of my favorite things about this mod. And you'll see here, at least at the beginning, you have a little bit of extra content, but it adheres to the same story. The way they interweave the new content with the old content in this game is spectacular, maybe the best I've ever seen. And the two lead developers on this, Joshua MK02 and Tempo, have absolutely killed at getting this new content incorporated. And I will get to the new content in just a moment, but I'm just showing you kind of the changes here. Obviously the screen is slightly darker because this is Super Mario Eclipse. Some people may like that, some people may think it's too dark, but I like that they even changed the color scheme around ever so slightly to really drive home that Eclipse vibe. And if you just start playing Super Mario Sunshine the way you normally would, this is usually going to be one of the first areas you take a look at, and you can totally play the game exactly as you remember. But you're going to take a turn and see a hole in a wall or see a path that was never there before in Super Mario Sunshine, and your curiosity is going to make you want to take that path, and suddenly you're going to be playing brand new content you've never seen before. But I do recommend, if you want to check this thing out, and you definitely should, at least get one shine sprite off the top in the normal vanilla base game for Super Mario Sunshine. That's going to open up a lot of different things to you, and I always go with PD Piranha in the first place. And just so you know, this works on original hardware, it'll work on a Wii U, it works under Dolphin emulation like I'm playing it here, so you really have an infinite amount of ways to play this new mod. So now that I've got PD dead, I'll collect the first shine sprite, and then we can move on to the new content. But again, I'm just showing you a little tease of what's on offer here because I want you to understand the sense of discovery in this game is really what leads you down that rabbit hole to finding all the 120 new shines that are going to be in the game. So if we pop back into Bianco Hills here and take a right, we're going to see some pillars on the side of the wall here. Maybe they look familiar, maybe they don't. We need to do a little bit more navigation just to get up there. And I will show you some of the new moveset in the game in a few minutes because it does change up Mario's entire moveset as well, making the platforming even more challenging and fun. If we jump over here and take a right, suddenly we're in an area in the game that you have never seen before. And this is what I mean when I say that sense of discovery. It isn't just a new game with 120 stars and custom levels. Everything is woven into the vanilla Mario, and you can kind of clip out and see what's going on here. But there's a gate down, and you wonder to yourself, is that going to open later, or is that just scenery? And that's how Super Mario Eclipse gets its hooks into you, giving you that question, what can I do, what can I see, where is the new content hidden, and what am I going to be looking at? And when I say the levels are every bit as good as the base Super Mario Sunshine, I absolutely mean it, as is the soundtrack, and I'll give you a sample in just a moment. But just seeing this one new area here got me all into Sunshine. Once again, I haven't played in a few years, and now I'm definitely beating this game. But here's that music, go ahead and listen, and I'll be right back with more content. Super fun music as always. We will get back to that area, but I want to show you a little bit more of the sense of discovery, give you a few different directions to run and see what's going on so you know how this game kind of opens up. Because again, everything is within the actual world of Super Mario Sunshine's overworld like you remember it back in the GameCube days. So when you first start the game, don't be bummed out if you can't find the content. That is the fun of this, but I'm just giving you a few areas so you can actually take a look at them and start getting into the new game. And again, don't forget the original base game is there as well, giving you 240 total stars to collect. We move up to Ecto Rock here, which I showed you in the beginning of the game, and we're trying to find 10 different residents of Isle Delfino to get the lava off of them. And with all of the new moveset, you're going to have an even more expanded way to move Mario around. And of course, with new playable characters, I'm not going to spoil who they are, you'll find them in due course. You're going to have even more ways to play, and that is always fun. But it is absolutely so impressive just how massive of an undertaking this truly is. It's basically an entire sequel to Super Mario Sunshine made by a team of fan developers. And while Nintendo definitely keeps making awesome 3D Mario games, Galaxy being one of my favorites as well, this is just so impressive to see because I've always wanted to revisit the world of Super Mario Sunshine, and while I definitely have played some fan-made games before, this reaches a level and echelon that none of those other titles ever did. And that's not to knock the other fan games in the Sunshine universe. There's some great ones out there as well. Leave me a comment and tell me your favorite. But this just has a look, a feel, a sense of polish, and a sense of wonder that no other fan game in the Mario universe or 3Ds ever reached for me personally. And there is a whole training area at the beginning of the game as well. If you hit the question mark block and don't start a save file, it'll basically walk you through all of the crazy new moveset, because this really isn't stuff you were doing in vanilla Sunshine back in the day. And I think that was a very smart design decision from the developers, not just to make new levels and give you new shines, but to really in some spots expand on the gameplay, giving you challenges that you're really going to have to try to master if you want to do a 100% run of this game. You'll see here we get the first piece and we can move on to the next area, and I'll show you some of the wild jumps you're going to be using here with a new Flood moveset as well. And that's part of the reason I always love Sunshine. Flood was such a fun movement mechanic, and I wish that they had brought that back in another game. You'll see here we have to make this massive jump and a dive, and if you miss it, it respawns you right back to where you came from. So you're going to have to learn a lot of timing in Eclipse to be able to move further into the game as well and get some of those hard to reach shines. Because like a jump like this, you have to use a dive at the apex of the jump and release Flood at the same time, or else you're never going to make the distance. Or this jump here, you have to basically time it perfectly because you're trying to land on a very small platform, and this is what the game is just showing you in the early parts. This jump right here is very tricky. It doesn't really spell it out for you, but you will learn, and that sense of learning is going to be why you love this game so much, at least in my opinion. You need to charge up Flood while falling, release it, and then throw a dive at the same time if you're ever going to see the end of that platform. The first time I was able to successfully complete that jump, I absolutely fell in love with that movement mechanic. And as far as the first level here is concerned, having to find all 10 of the residents of this area, don't get discouraged, just kind of hunt around. It might take a life or two. It's an interesting thing of developers to start the game with kind of that hunt and fetch quest, but honestly, once you get it down, the game is going to totally open up. And that is what Super Mario Eclipse is all about, trying to discover and find new things. The amount of content here is genuinely staggering. This feels like something that a team at Nintendo would have developed with like 40-50 people on the job, but of course this was just done with fans. You'll see there I ran out of time, but trust me, you can get it done. As we pop back into this little dungeon area here again, I just love what's on offer here. This is more of one of my favorite games of all time, and it feels every bit as polished as my favorite game of all time. And since Nintendo really doesn't like to seem to give us too many new Mario games and has never revisited the Sunshine formula, this to me is absolutely catnip for my gaming tastes. If you're not as huge of a fan of Super Mario Sunshine, maybe it won't be as much fun to you, but take my word for it, I love featuring new fan games and ROM hacks on the channel, and Super Mario Eclipse is probably one of the best 3D fan games I've ever seen. There's something haunted about this box here though, just kind of showing you. I'm not sure if it's a dolphin thing or if I just had a very bad lineup, but trying to even break this, something I already had, gave me the absolute biggest trouble in the world. But that's probably the only issue I found the entirety of playing so far on Super Mario Eclipse. Everything else has just felt like sitting down and playing a game I remember, but finding brand new levels I never saw back in the day. And trust me, some of the levels are hidden so well, it's probably going to take you weeks to discover absolutely everything in Eclipse. The only wrong way to play this game though is not to play it in the first place, and you'll see here we've reached the fire shrine, and they're going to talk about how many shrines are in the game, because we've collected all of one so far in the capture. And again, trust me, I'm holding back a lot as to not spoil it, and you're going to see we have 239 to go. I will leave a link to the description below so you can get this patch. Go ahead and patch the game and start playing it, because trust me, you're going to absolutely love this one or your money back. And since you pay nothing for these things, that's a toothless guarantee. I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.